Hello everyone, this is Andrew Goad for the 30-day video series about stepping into your personal greatness. Today is day 22, and today is an extension on fear. So yesterday I talked about the fact that I was going to talk more about facing your fear. So yesterday we chatted about the aspect that when fear is running in the background in our minds, it can be really insidious and really take us off our game. What I mentioned was I was particularly noticing that I was feeling overwhelmed, and because of that I wasn't taking action, or I was being really lazy and procrastinating. And part of the reason I was feeling overwhelmed around things was because I was feeling scared about them. So as soon as we actually are able to identify what we're scared about and turn it around, it actually can become, our fear can become something that's empowering rather than disempowering. We can bring it from the back of our mind to the forefront of our mind, where we can see it, identify it, and then start to challenge it. Because a lot of the times what we're fearful of is going to be illogical, or what we think we're fearful of and what we think we can't actually do, or maybe it seems really crazy to challenge our fear, is actually not that crazy at all. And in fact, a lot of people talk about fear as being a landmark towards actually growing. So a lot of people talk about fear being something that is the kind of the best signpost for growth. And a lot of the times, if you want something that's a little bit, beyond what your comfort zone is, let's say you've only made 50 grand a year for the last however many years, you've been working at your job, and you want to, move that up to 60 grand or 70 grand or 80 grand, or maybe even double the amount that you make in a year. That's probably going to feel uncomfortable. And I bet there's going to be things that come up that scare you. So facing your fear is really, really critical if you want to have the life that you desire and dream of. And one of the best things that I know of, and that I did yesterday when I was feeling overwhelmed, is just to write down what you're feeling scared about. If you know that there's something that comes up over and over and over again in a certain area of your life, it definitely takes discipline to move through the fear and move towards what you want. But yeah, the best first step, I think, is writing it down. And then as soon as you write it down, you can start to pinpoint where there's like fallacy or illegitimacy to the fear. So for example, I'm fearful right now of going back to school. I've done 3 years of my undergraduate degree in a bachelor's of science in psychology, and I'm scared to go back for my last year. I have one more year. I have 8 classes left. And the main reason I'm scared of that is because when I was in school, I faced a really tough period of time with anxiety, social anxiety, and depression, and it got really bad. I've come a long way and I learned a lot, but there's part of me that's fearful that I'll just jump right back into that place and won't be able to do anything about it. And so that's my fear. But if I identify it and I look at it concretely, in the light, rather than it just running in the background and having direction over my thought process and my actions, if I let it just fester, it's going to prevent me from going after what I want. And one of the things that's important to me is finishing my degree. So the legitimacy, again, of this fear about the fact that if I go back to school, I'm going to get depressed and anxious and whatever again, is that, I can take less classes, for example. I don't necessarily need to jump right back in. I can take 1 class a semester, or 2 classes, or 3 classes. I don't necessarily need to do my degree where I was before. I was at Guelph, and I feel like I want to stay in the city because I'm established here in Toronto, and I'd rather do school, do a few courses, maybe at U of T or Ryerson or something like that, right? So already I'm just starting to break down the fear and looking at ways that I can start to challenge it. So, the fear basically tells me, don't go back to school, or I don't want to go back to school. And so what I can say is, okay, how can I identify this fear and look at it from a different perspective that's actually going to allow me to penetrate it and pinpoint the places where the fear has weakness? And it's a really cool concept because, I can take class, at U of T or Ryerson again, and just take a class at a time. And it's going to start to challenge those things. Maybe I'll take 2 classes. Who knows? I haven't made up my mind yet. But the fact is that we can start to look at our fear and challenge it from different angles and start to pinpoint how we want to overcome this thing. It's true for any type of fear you have. Public speaking is the same way. You know, let's say you're scared of going up on stage and giving a presentation. The first thing that you can do is you can start to say, okay, I'm scared of actually giving a presentation, but I'm going to at least take a step and write down what I would talk about. Or you can, you know, do an impromptu 30-minute elevator pitch to one of your friends that you know. You know, again, that's some form of public speaking, and it's ways that you can just turn the fear around and pinpoint the weaknesses so that you can actually move through it. Because a lot of the time, fear isn't real. It's just trying to keep us safe. It's our body's safety mechanism to avoid pain. But it doesn't always have to be painful to face our fear. I think it certainly can be, but there are also ways that we can be smart and strategic around facing our fears that lead us to a lot of greatness on the other side of it, because I know for a fact that as soon as I finish my degree, I'm going to feel pretty good and pretty accomplished. So anyways, that's been today. That's been day 22. It's a little bit more vulnerable. A little more of me is showing up in this video, so I hope you appreciate that. I definitely like being vulnerable, so I'm glad I was able to show up with you guys in that way. And yeah, this has been Andrew Goad for the 30-day video series, and I will see you tomorrow for day 23. All right. Bye-bye.